As many people are getting COVID-19, myself included, one of the things that we ask ourselves is what is the aftermath of this? Are there long-term side effects of getting COVID-19? It's a really good question, and this article will help us shed some light on it because it's something that many of us are wondering. The article is called Dozens More Cases of Neurological Problems in COVID-19 Reported. I want to go through this, break down this article, talk about what some of the things that they're finding with people, but then also talk about some ways at the end that you can support your nervous system in order to give yourself the best chance of overcoming any type of neurological symptoms that may show up, because the fact is that everybody will likely get COVID-19. I tell this to people all the time. They think that that's a silly statement, but the fact is you are not going to stop it. I don't care how many masks you wear. I don't care how much you social distance. It's going to happen. I know of people, elderly people, who've just been literally locked up for months and they somehow eventually get it. It's going to happen, okay? Like I said, I've gotten it. My whole family's gotten it. We're all fine. And we take care of ourselves and we do the right thing. But I want to help you do the same. So let's look at this article. Newly described case reports add to growing evidence that COVID-19 infections can result in severe, long-lasting neurological complications, including inflammation, psychosis, delirium, nerve damage, and strokes, even among patients experiencing mild cases of the virus with few other symptoms. Okay, so that's saying that like someone like myself who had pretty mild symptoms could actually have some long-term side effects. In some instances, a new study claims these neurological effects were the first manifestation of the disease. Okay, this is, in fact, the first manifestation that many people have. So I want to tell you my story. So back in January of 2020, before anybody was really talking about COVID-19 and what it was, I got it. And literally at the time, we weren't talking about symptoms. We weren't talking about being afraid of it. Heck, it could have even been late December. I don't particularly know at this point, because the fact is when it happened, I thought I had the flu. Now, the first symptom I had was a migraine. Okay, and I didn't think much of it. I got this big old nasty migraine, and I remember going to bed, and I can remember my accounts of this whole situation because now I look back at it going, oh, this kind of matches up with every symptom of COVID-19 that yeah, typical symptom that people get. So I had a big old headache, but that wasn't a big deal because I am kind of prone to getting migraines. You know, it's one of the things that led me down the path I went on with my career because I got migraine headaches quite a bit and I needed help with them and I found answers to them. But so I got this migraine headache and didn't think much of it. But then the rest of the week I was fatigued and I also just had a lot of spinal pain, okay? And just constant neck tightness and soreness. And then at some point I lost my taste and smell and thought, well, this is kind of weird. And the week prior to me, my wife had all the same symptoms basically. She had headaches, she had spinal pain, she had fatigue, but both of us just kind of carried on in life because we just thought, well, you know, we're just going through a little something. And I mean, let's face it, your body is always facing something like a virus, a bacterial infection, and it can, you know, make you feel down for a couple days, but you just keep moving on. And so I was feeling a little fatigued and stuff. I remember going to bed early every night, but at the end of the day, as I look back on pretty much most people that I see that get COVID-19, this is what happens to them. They get a lot of spinal pain, they get a lot of headaches, they even get migraines, even if they don't typically get migraines. And the fact is, it's because it is such a strong force on the nervous system. It's very clear that it is a big negative for your nervous system. So when we look at this, we have to understand, okay, well, there's actually some things that we can do to help protect our nervous system, things that we should do. In a journal called The Brain, a neurologist goes on to talk about how many people are getting encephalitis, they've noticed, okay? I want to just read this paragraph here. COVID-19 is primarily a respiratory disease that attacks the lungs, okay? This is why I've been a big advocate of promoting people to use things like N-acetylcysteine if they have unhealthy lungs. But it also has manifested seemingly unrelated symptoms such as loss of taste, okay? We had that. Attack on the nervous system. I mean, that's a neurological problem. You can't taste anything. The lack of smell, same thing. Memory loss, same thing. I never experienced memory loss. Maybe I did. I don't know. But not that I'm aware of. And that can persist for months beyond the initial diagnosis. These oddities suggest a neurological source, okay? I mean, I kind of question whether or not I still have a problem with some smells and taste. Like I know for a fact that my nose is nowhere near as strong as it used to be. And actually that's kind of a good thing because my nose, I literally could smell anything and everything before anybody could. Like, that's how strong my nose was, and it was kind of a curse because working with the general public, I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of smells that you deal with, and when somebody has a very strong sense of smell, it literally is one of those things that it just almost makes you sick to your stomach, and like you're just like, come on, grow up, get over it. And it's like, no, the smell is unbearable, and other people don't even know it's there. So that's me kind of. So in a way, it's probably a good thing that my smell isn't as strong, but there's a good chance it will come back strong. I mean, that's what they're saying, is that it does come back over time. Um, as we go on to this study, basically, they talk about, once again, the central nervous system being under attack. The study detailed the neurological symptoms of 43 patients hospitalized in the National Hospital for Neurological and Neurosurgery in London with confirmed or suspected cases of COVID-19. A dozen were diagnosed with inflammation of the central nervous system. No doubt that it attacks that and causes inflammation. And I'll talk about inflammation in just a minute, including 9 cases of the encephalitis. A further 10 patients experienced delirium and psychosis, which is crazy, right? 8 patients suffered strokes, including one that was fatal, and another 8 had peripheral nerve damage. Okay, at least 2 patients also developed strange behaviors shortly after being discharged from the hospital. One woman, as described in the paper, repeatedly donned and took off her coat and began hallucinating lions and monkeys inside her home. Interesting. Another woman became drowsy and ultimately needed emergency surgery to relieve the pressure on her brain. Okay, so, this is something we obviously want to be concerned about. As we go down in this article right here, one of the things it talks about is that the worry is that, as evidenced by the 1918 influenza pandemic, it infected 1/3 of the world's population. In the decades after, up to 1 million people developed a brain disorder called encephalitis lethargica, known more commonly as sleepy sickness. Some scholars have linked the two events together, although the evidence remains inconclusive. Okay, so then the question becomes, after all of that, what do you do about it, okay? I want to talk about a couple of vitamins you can do, okay, because we know that the only way that true health comes to your body is naturally, okay, so through natural sources from the earth. And so we want to make sure that we're doing things that naturally support our nervous system. B vitamins are a great way to support your nervous system and neurological health. I would definitely recommend doing some B vitamins. And what I'll do is I'll put a link to our sponsor, our show sponsor, below this video. If you support them, it would be, of course, greatly appreciated, because they have great products all around these situations, and help support what I'm doing here. So first of all, B vitamins are great, okay? Getting the B1, the B2, B3, B5, B6, all of them, B12, B9. We want to get these B vitamins in because they're very good for the nervous system. Vitamin D is critical. I can't tell you how critical vitamin D is. There's plenty of studies that show out there basically that people are getting really negative side effects from COVID-19 are having problems with vitamin D deficiency simultaneously, okay? People who are hospitalized. There was one report that said upwards of 80% of people hospitalized showed like a vitamin D deficiency. We have to make sure that we have vitamin D at proper amounts in our body, because if we do not, inflammation arises and it causes an enormous amount of problems. And this is when you look at, for instance, United States having such a problem with COVID-19. When we look at scientific facts, it's because of the fact that United States is a highly obese country with highly inflamed and sick and immune depressed people taking more prescription drugs than anywhere in the world, sicker than people anywhere in the world. It is an enormous problem, okay? So even though the politics of all of this have taught you that it was due to a president not doing a good enough job, it's just the fact that people's health is bad, okay? It has nothing to do with politics. And this is the real problem, okay? We look at real problems out there, the real science. When we look at African Americans being more affected, it has nothing to do with the color of their skin, besides the fact that they actually don't absorb, or the sunlight doesn't help them produce vitamin D in their body as efficiently as somebody with lighter skin. So therefore, they're more vitamin D deficient, okay? Let's look at the real science. So we want to make sure we take B vitamins, vitamin D, Omega-3s are really good too, taking fish oil and DHA, those kind of things. And then also alpha-lipoic acid is great because it is a anti-inflammatory antioxidant that actually can really support reducing inflammation in the nervous system. Okay, so alpha lipoic acid is great too. We also, want to be careful with that and don't take it in some high doses. I'll put a link to a few of the items that I use typically with patients below this video. And so alpha lipoic acid is great. Now, in general, for inflammation, one of the things that we want to do and look to is going to be turmeric, curcumin, the active ingredient curcumin. So we want to make sure that we're getting that because that's great for reducing inflammation. And then we also want to look to resveratrol also. You can take those two simultaneously, and it's one of the strongest non-inflammatory power packs you can get. Okay, so I like taking both of those together, and not to mention they have incredible anti-aging benefits. So if you're truly serious about taking care of yourself and also reducing some of the neurological symptoms associated with COVID-19, which I certainly am. I still take this very seriously. I take all these vitamins every day. I'm not telling you anything I don't personally do myself. Then you're going to want to make sure you take action on this, okay? So check out the other videos on this channel. Put in the comment section below what you think of this video. Give it a thumbs up. Also share it with your friends. It would help me spread the message out. As you can imagine, this information is not popular. Information that truly helps people anymore is not popular because all the media is paid for by the big pharma companies, and they just do not allow this information to be spread widely. In fact, many natural health advocates are being kicked off many of these social media platforms. So in the comments below, what I'll do too is I'll put a link to a place where you can join my email list or our text community. So check all that out, and I appreciate all your support, and check out my other videos on the channel. I'll see you in the next video.